Welcome back to another episode of I Never Liked It with Matteo, Lane, and Nick Smith. And today we are talking about phrases and their original meaning, like the origin of the meanings of these phrases.
Old time sayings.
Old time sayings.
Redo it.
No.
He would make me redo it.
Come saprei.
What? No. Okay, so
I can
Chris
see your
did
nipples.
some. Yeah, well, you can.
You
see
should have
my
worn
nipples
this on the
most of
Ghost
time.
episode.
This is one of my favorite blouses, to be honest.
This is truly B. Arthur. I look like the mother of a solid gold dancer. Like, this is
You want to know what's
true B.
inappropriate? I wore this to the Metropolitan Opera one time with nothing underneath, and all of the old people stared at me like I was a ghost.
Nick, it's just... Well, okay, so we're talking...
They're nipples. We all got them. Some got 3. All right, so Chris did some research, and he pulled some old-timey phrases and sayings that we may have heard before or may not have. Mm-hmm. And we have to guess what they mean and sort of how they came about.
Okay.
So I tried to pick less common ones you guys wouldn't know. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure you'll know some of them.
But we'll know some of them, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I want to know them, too, for sure.
Number 1. A stitch in time saves 9.
Okay, I have heard this one.
So what does it mean? A stitch in time saves 9. Was it like... Is that... What is the...
Okay, a stitch, so
Well, hold on, wait,
sewing,
right, but...
saves 9, could be 9 people. Cats have 9 lives.
Is he right?
So a stitch
What does the phrase mean, though, in general?
in time, so a moment in time.
Basically, what I think it's trying to say is take the extra time to do something because it could make it harder for you in the end.
Yeah, pretty much. Fixing a small problem promptly prevents it from becoming a bigger issue.
Okay, do we know the origin of this phrase?
Yeah.
Well, we have to guess the origin. All right.
When was it first used?
My guess is in the Industrial Revolution, let's say late 1800s.
I'm going to say the gold rush, like the prairie times, because they did a lot
What
of
year
stitching.
were those?
They did a lot of stitching then.
This phrase has been in use since the 18th century. It suggests that mending a small tear in fabric with a single stitch right away will save the need for more stitches later
Yeah.
if the tear grows
okay.
larger.
So we were both right.
Yeah, we were both right. Okay. I don't think you were right. Wait, you just gaslit me. That you talked about cats. Now, hold on a minute.
Cats
There's
have 9 lives.
9 lives with those cats, so if you stitch in time, you save 9
But
cat
I think
lives.
I was right timeline-wise, right?
The gold rush? No, I don't know when the gold rush was.
Well, it's just 1800s. The Industrial Revolution was
No, he
what?
said 18th century, so 1700s.
Oh, God.
All right, next phrase.
Next phrase.
Gold rush is 1848, so you're a little bit later. Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Okay, I know this one.
Okay.
It means don't get too excited before everything sort of happens because anything could happen.
Right. Or basically, I think it's talking about money. So they're saying don't count your chickens before they hatch. Basically, it's saying, like, you don't have the money till you have it. Okay?
Right.
So
you don't want to count the chickens because one of them could be a stillbirth.
You guys got it. You nailed it. It doesn't necessarily...
That's the literal meaning. Isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
And where did it come from?
Yeah.
I'm going to say like the gold rush prairie
Stop
time.
saying the gold
because
rush.
they farmland and the chickens and
It came from Laura Ingalls Wilder. on Little
bartered.
House
They
on the Prairie.
bartered. So that's really where it's from bartering because you don't want to count the chickens for bartering before they hatch because you don't know what you got to barter with.
Ugh, when did it come out?
This phrase comes from Aesop's Fables.
Who?
Specifically the tale of the milkmaid and her pail, which
Aesop is
warns
also a
against
hand soap.
making plans based on assumptions.
What year? It just says the gold rush. You
Nell.
were so proud to say gold rush.
Nell from Little House on the Prairie.
Ancient
said it.
Greece,
What?
Oh.
1484.
They had chickens then?
Well, 1484 wasn't. No, I thought you meant Nell as in the Jodie Foster movie, Nell. By the wind.
All right, next phrase. We're on a roll so far.
Barking up the wrong tree.
Well, barking up the wrong tree is implying to somebody you're coming to me with your problem thinking I'm going to care, you've come to the wrong place. Or they're suggesting, if you have an issue with me, you're barking up the wrong tree. So, right?
And
Wrong-
the literal
wrong
meaning
person.
is dogs chase squirrels up trees.
And they
this
did it in the
dog is
gold
probably
rush.
barking at a tree thinking a squirrel's going to be there, but it's the wrong tree. There ain't no squirrel.
You are from a small town.
And where did it derive? They used dogs for hunting back in the prairie and gold rush days.
They didn't use dogs for the gold rush, Nick.
Do you know where I'm from that they use beagles for? I did that with my grandpa a couple times. We would go and we would watch the beagles chase rabbits.
What does that have to do with gold? They use dogs to find truffles in Italy and France. What does that have to do with the gold rush?
I don't know. They probably used
They
them
would
to find
blow
gold.
caves up and go sifting in the rivers.
They
for
had
gold.
dogs.
You guys nailed it. Nick got the origin and the meaning.
In the gold rush time. Okay,
I mean, it doesn't say a time, but it just
We know the time. Hi, everyone. We started a podcast Patreon, so be sure to join. We're releasing bonus episodes, clips from our live shows. We're getting feedback from you on podcast topics and much more. Be sure to join at the link in the description of each video or go to patreon.com/INeverLikedYouPodcast. We recorded a part 2 to common phrases, and we're releasing that on Patreon. So please
Next up, more than you could shake a stick at.
What? Say that again?
The shop had more types of candy than you could shake a stick at.
More types of candy than you can shake a stick at.
This, I really don't quite...
More than you can shake a stick at.
Is it Rafiki?
I know. All I can think is like witches and warlocks.
He's
shake
alive!
something. So having more than you can shake a stick at is like more than you could even imagine or conjure up. The sky's the limit. The
Yeah, but
options
what's
are
this
endless.
part? You shake a stick to what? Was shaking a stick a part of some, cultural thing that implied you want more back then? Like how this means what do you want in Italian? If you shook a stick, this was to get more from the gods?
Yeah, an abundance or a large quantity of something is the meaning. And the
What I said.
phrase, you want me the origin?
Yeah.
I'm going to say the origin is from Crucible days where they all were pretending to be witches.
This phrase dates back to the early 19th century and may have originated from farmers who had more things to manage, like crops or livestock, than they could handle.
Oh, so the shake a stick was out of frustration. Like, they're basically saying, you just dang nabbit. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to use that
The
phrase.
Crucible times. You went to 0 AD.
The Crucible is not 0 AD.
Are you talking about Christ?
No, the Crucible, like the witches where they burned them at the stake. What?
I thought you were talking about God or Jesus being nailed to the
No.
cross.
Next phrase.
When was the Salem witch trials? Was that the 1700s?
I think it was. Because when was Hocus Pocus? It says, remember at the beginning it says the year?
16 something?
Something like
Maybe
that.
the 1600s? What,
Columbus
16?
sailed the ocean blue in
Do you know
1492.
how many witches? How many?
1692.
1692. So how many women do you think they actually burned alive to the stake? If you had to make a guess.
Limit does not exist.
No, so I'm dead serious. Just give a number.
I'd say at least 100.
Okay. Do you know it was only 12?
The 12 disciples?
How many? How many? It was
That's
it was a very
spooky.
low number because the way they describe it, you think it's a million.
More than 200 people were accused, but only 20 of those people were executed.
Yeah, it's a low number.
Wow. All right, next phrase.
Oh.
Mad as
You
a
wanted to talk
hatter.
about those Salem witch trials. What?
Mad as a hatter.
Well, that comes from Alice in Wonderland, and it's basically saying they're crazy.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Hatter was crazy and mad, so you're as mad as him.
The phrase comes from the effects of mercury poisoning on hat makers in the 18th and 19th centuries who used mercury in hat making, leading to the symptoms of insanity.
Why would you use mercury for a hat?
Hats? What were they? Where were they putting the mercury?
Yeah, I am actually curious about that. Where are you putting mercury?
Wow, mad as a hatter. So Alice in
I know-
Wonderland stole it, basically.
Yeah.
I know in the ancient Roman times there was a lot of lead poisoning because they would make a certain type of, I don't know if it was grape, but some kind of sweet ingredient that they would use on desserts and stuff, but they would make it in this thing that had lead in it, so everyone was getting lead poisoning, and it caused like your eyes have glazed over so quickly. You ever
How
watch
did
the
we
Weird
get-
History Channel?
No.
But like people just didn't know that mercury or lead or the things that they were cooking in or building with had an
Right.
effect on people. Oh God, Nick, you are.
Next.
If anything, you are insufferable.
Never said I wasn't.
Let the cat out of the bag.
Well, that means like okay,
Who told a
Who
secret?
told a secret? Gossip.
But I think it probably literally means is a magician was doing a trick where he was going to pull a cat out of a bag, and his assistant pulled the cat out before the trick happened, and the magician probably was like, "Who let that cat out of the bag?"
This phrase possibly originated from medieval markets where farmers would sell piglets in bags and might substitute a less valuable cat.
So I was close.
Twice now you've brought up cats.
What can I say? I love pussy.
Nick has had sex with a woman here. I've not.
I have. Dark.
Although I wouldn't be. I would be interested. I think that I'm not one of those gays. You know, gay people. I hate when they're like, "Ew, vagina." I am not disgusted.
Look, it's not for
I am not.
me
I am
now,
not disgusted
but
by.
I can say I've done it.
I am not disgusted by vaginas at all. But
All right, next phrase.
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Doesn't
say it again.
A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Doesn't Blanche say this on Golden Girls one episode?
Her mother was a slut too.
But I thought she said a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
I guess what they're trying to say is like there could be
bird
two in
in
the
the
bush, but as long as
hand.
you have one, it's worth more because it means you can offer to somebody. If it's
A
in the
bird
bush,
in
it's
the
harder to get.
hand means I have a bird in my hand. And finish the phrase. A bird in the hand,
Bird in the
is
hand is
worth
better than two in the
two-
bush.
is better or worth two in the bush.
Is worth two.
I,
in-
be- I bet
worth
it's saying
two in
like,
the
well,
bush.
I got what I got.
So the bush is often in Australia referred to as like, no.
Like the campagna, the farmland.
Yeah, like so a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I'm guessing they had a bird, so to barter that means they could get two birds from Australia.
It's better to have a sure thing than to risk it for more.
Okay, so I was kind of you have what you have.
Oh, because you don't know what's in the bush.
Yeah.
And where did it derive? Australia?
The saying has been in use since the 15th century and emphasizes the value of certainty over potential.
It's Australia. I think Kylie Minogue said it.
I-
Kylie Minogue.
You are
Padam, padam. I see it in the bush. Padam, padam. I think those are the lyrics. All right.
you have bulldozed through this entire podcast.
Why we're cranking them out. Right?
You
Crank 'em. What's that?
You seem
Crank 'em, crank 'em. What's that from?
You
Where they-
seem manic today. You are jumping. all over
It's the heat.
place.
Where is Crinkum Crankum from?
You are.
They say them.
literally-
Does Rose say it?
Now hold on, one bird in a bush because they call
Well,
bush in
we're
Australia,
trying to get-
and then the one bird gets better than two birds from that bush. That's not a padam, padam. You hear me? Next. You are like, I say one sentence, Nick is like, next. This is
All right. Last one.
this
Let's
is
round it out.
chaos magic, Wanda.
All right, this one's a bit. Throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Well, that's what Matteo's mom would say
What?
about you to your dad. Throw that baby out with the bathwater.
Badam.
Throw the baby. Say it again one more time.
Use it in a sentence.
When updating the software, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and remove useful features.
Yeah, so basically what it's saying is like
the baby's the important thing.
right, but don't throw the rest, don't throw the collateral, the things around it out with it as well.
Like instead
So
of just
the baby is the
starting
most
over-
important thing. And then the water is the thing that people usually get rid of, but they're saying, no, don't throw it all out.
Yeah, instead
Don't
of just
waste.
starting over from the beginning with nothing, take out what's important, get rid of the rest. And where did it derive? I'm going to say, in the gold rush, the babies were often bathed in like...
I'm guessing like the 1920s in a
sinks.
tenement apartment.
16th century Germany.
Hitler? I'm kidding. Jesus Christ. But someone should have threw Hitler out with the bathwater. Am I right, ladies?
You've learned nothing.
It was a joke.
Why do you're like having a fever. Something's wrong with you. You just say the first thing that comes to your mind. And then I have to deal with the repercussions.
Our audience might have a point.
My
Thank
God.
you for watching and listening to another episode of our podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please join our Patreon and leave a review. We recorded a part 2 to common phrases, and we're releasing that on Patreon. Until next time.